Did somebody say WeeaBoots? Because I think I just heard someone say WeeaBoots. Weebs, welcome to WeeaBoots, the only contemporary anime review podcast from GigaBoots.com. I am your host, Anime Danime, and with me, as always, is Bob.
Hey.
From GigaBoots. KZ from KZExcellent.com.
Farewell, all WeeaBoots.
Mr. Feel from Mr. Feel's Wild Ride.
We're all gonna make it, brah.
And Dr. Aggro from Dr. Aggro.
Congratulations!
Today we've gathered to talk about Eva 3.0 plus 1.01 Evangelical Thrice Upon a Time. That is, of course, the VOD version, not the theatrical version or the other versions that may come into existence after this is recorded.
Do you think Tetsuya Nomura likes Evangelion?
What? No way.
No, he's more of a Bleach guy.
He's never seen it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He definitely doesn't like both of those things a lot.
No one likes Eva, just me. Just me in my mom's basement. We need to go over what people's history with Eva is before getting into this. And then who made it, because it's a real fucking mystery this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with KZ Excellent. KZ, what is your history with Evangelion?
I watched it on TV when it aired in 2006, and then watched the end of Evangelion like in 2009. And then I watched these movies 2 weeks ago.
Cool. Bob.
I watched the series way back in the day. I might have borrowed the DVDs from Aggro. I don't remember. And then the end of Eva back then as well. And then kept up with these rebuild movies as they were coming out.
Oh, no.
Which was a mistake.
Ill-advised.
Mr. Feel.
I got into Evangelion the day this movie came out and then watched all of it in the span of 6 days.
I wish I could hate you for that, but it's nothing but respect.
And Dr. Aggro.
I first watched Eva when I was 14 in the year 2000, 3 episodes at a time, once a week at a friend's house. And then years later, I watched it twice in one day because I have seen the show more than I have done most anything else in my life.
That's cool. I guess
I have seen Redeath and Rebirth over and over.
Me too.
Oh
So I've actually no, man, not Redeath and Rebirth. I've only seen that twice, and that's your fault. But yeah, as for my experience with the series, I watched the first few episodes and the last few episodes and a couple in between. But I rewatched Death and Rebirth and End of Eva several times each. And then I watched the first rebuild film when it came out. People told me about Anno's great plan, and I said, I'll see you when it's done.
You goddamn prophet.
Right?
I will pay for that tomorrow burger tomorrow.
Whatever, it was worse. That Shin Godzilla is great.
You're not getting an emotional loan.
Yeah, Shin Godzilla is great. You know what?
That's the next thing I have to watch.
Oh, yeah, no. You
yeah.
You need to see that.
You have to watch that after you've seen Eva.
Oh, yes, 100%.
I have to kneel to Ano-sama for the second time. Actually, I kneeled like 4 times during Eva, so I guess the 5th.
Well, you know, people don't really know what's with this Eva anime, and it helps to look into who made it. Bob, who made Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.01 Thrice Upon a Time?
So the chief director is Hideaki Anno.
Never heard of him.
The guy who did Gunbuster, His and Her Circumcised. This is Nadia.
Oh, okay, Kari Kano. I
Yes.
see. Yes, I'm a big fan.
God damn it. Yeah, you wouldn't shut the fuck up about that one.
It was really good watching these movies.
But it also has 3 directors under him.
Jesus.
Katsuichi Nakayama, Kazuya Tsurumaki, let me see. One of these guys is literally the creator of FLCL. Okay, that's him.
Oh, okay.
And the last one is Mahiro Maeda, which I believe all three of them are classics from the Gainax days.
None of them are named Fuyutsuki for things to be left to them.
No.
I leave things to you.
And of course, the production is done by Studio Kara, the team that he's put together.
Never heard of them.
Basically, they only made these rebuild movies and then assisted production on a ton of other random things.
Oh, okay. Well, when that's your track record, that's a pretty good track record.
Right.
As it turns out. I'm really glad I watched all of this within the span of a single day.
Yes, just sitting down and watching all of these in a row was quite the experience.
Yes, I could see how being left on that third movie for a while might drive some people fucking, as the Joker would say, normal. I'm really glad to have sidestepped that discourse entirely because every time someone tried to talk about it around me, I'm like, dude, I haven't seen it.
We weren't left there that long. How long was it again? Let me see.
9 years? Is that right? I think that's right.
3.0 came in 2012.
9 years?
Ow.
After watching that movie, I finally got it. There wasn't nearly enough homosexual piano playing.
That was definitely the problem. You nailed it. Like my cup is half full, sir.
Yeah, the movie should have just been another half hour long at least with that.
I mean, written in a different way, sure. It's funny because like, while I find that part sort of enjoyable, I find the feeling of complete lack of progress in that part of 3 to be something that would drive someone insane over the course of 8 years, where it's just like, why'd you spend this much of this movie not explaining anything or damn it.
Yeah, no, waiting that long for that movie and only for that movie to be like, oh, I'm going to do nothing was painful.
Yeah.
Because there's also this extra layer of, in the States, it took them forever to get that one over, right? It was like a year, maybe year and a half.
There was a huge gap waiting for the official release, and I felt kicked in the dick. That movie's a lot better when you know the fourth one is just sitting right behind it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Like, I immediately watched the fourth one after finishing that one.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to do it.
It's also a lot better once you've seen it once. Like watching it the second time, it was a lot better because I'm like, I know exactly what it's going to do. I know what it's not going to do. And so I can enjoy all this cool spaceship bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah, the 3 still bugs me in general just because of the way Misato acts in it. It doesn't line up at all with anything.
This is great. This lines up my first question. Do you think Misato was a girl boss when she told Shinji absolutely nothing and screamed at him to stay in his cell like the little bitch he was?
Yes.
Okay.
It was cool because they kept cutting to this brand new character design that they called her.
I mean, it was a really good design. You can name it whatever you want. Look, she has strong girl boss energy in 3.
Does.
No one can deny that.
Yeah, they're like,
She had strong girl boss energy because she was just coping by imitating Gendo, who might be the biggest girl boss in history.
I think that's right, yeah.
Appearing with his new cyber visor.
Actually, the greatest Sigma male of all time.
I loved biting my tongue while we watched FLCL Progressive or whatever. To be like, hey, that design just stolen from the third Ava movie.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
See, nothing in
really
Progressive
when we
stuck in my
watched this.
mind at all. So it's like, what is Bob talking about? What could there be?
Oh my god!
When we watch these movies, you're like, you mentioned the FLCL thing. I was like, shut up. Why are you saying this right now?
He said that, and I was like, what the fuck does he mean? And now that he said this, I'm like,
I know, but stop it.
Don't we own that on Blu-ray?
Yeah, I think it's shoved in my house somewhere.
I mean, Progressive is just like really pitifully aping Ava in general, where it's just like, people have headphones on so they don't have to pay attention to other people. It's like, thank you.
It's aping everything really hard. It aped some headphones and had to apologize in the fucking credits.
It's like dollar store chocolate that has a character you recognize on the box.
It's like fucked up drawing of Chungus on the
Yeah, more big chunk.
I always remember the going to Big Lots and buying the not Mortal Kombat toys. That's what it's like.
Oh,
That's a really accurate analogy for the new Fooly Cooley stuff. Well, Bob, thank you for telling us who made Ava. I feel like that was really important and helpful to the audience listening to this. Does anyone want to make comments about how dubs might be good to piss off some other tangent of weirdos listening to this?
Yes, they're good.
Okay, thank you. Now that we've gotten that segment out of the way, let's move on. The US dub having a slightly, slowly, but constantly evolving voice cast is really bizarre because you get to the fourth film and it's finally like, Ray's original voice actress again.
Now, I waited. I have not seen the original stuff in 15 years. So when in the final fucking movie they switched to the original Ray voice actors, I'm like, why she sounds stupid?
It's so good. I
it's
don't know
like-
what you're talking
It
about.
just sounds like her ASMR mic
And then
is
it's
on,
like,
okay?
no, that's just Amanda Winley doing that thing she does. And I'm like, oh, well, why is she whispering? The other character was emoting properly.
They were doing it wrong.
didn't they redub 3.0 with Amanda Wynn Lee in it too for this Amazon release?
If they did for the Amazon release, I didn't get to experience that. We watched that on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think
I'm
that they
looking
redone
at the
it
cast
with
right now, and
the
they
full-
did.
with the full cast.
Oh,
but,
that's cool. I'll do a second loop at some point with the Amazon version,
Oh,
just
that-
because now it sounds neat.
I
Yeah,
was
whenever
wondering
they
if they
release-
would go back, but if they did it for this, then actually, okay.
Yeah,
That's something I'll look into.
Wow, Amazon, a more positive force than other streaming services. What were you saying, Bob?
Hopefully they just release Blu-rays these new voices on them because I would love to watch these
it
again,
looks
but
like
I don't want to watch
they
it.
did it with
Amazon.
all of them.
Yeah,
They did it with all three of them.
right. We just need a Blu-ray
That,
release.
that explains a lot because I watched them on Amazon over the last couple of days, and I remember thinking, wasn't this dub weirder?
Yeah, because it didn't have Amanda Winley.
Yeah.
I
But it was like 10 fucking years ago. So
Also, one thing that I'll miss when watching the Amazon dubs is God, the school friend who's not Toji,
Kensuke.
Kensuke.
Yeah.
He's voiced by basically the voice of the Full Metal Panic character that was aping him directly in the Funimation
Yeah,
version. In the Amazon
it was,
version,
it was
he is no
Justin
longer.
Cook and Greg Ayers. That was a great fucking duo for Toji and
It
Kensuke.
really was.
Yeah, just watching that, and Toji is just falling into Yusuke Urameshi over and over again.
Mhm.
Anytime he's mad was really
Oh.
good.
It's really good.
I need to
I
add
knew
that
that was
I
different.
can't take part in this conversation at all because I watched all this subbed because I wanted to hear Megumi Okada.
That's fine. It's important to have an audience surrogate. Unfortunately, the surrogate you are for the audience specifically would be the people who are mad at dubs. I'm sorry on your behalf.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
They're like, there's only one sane person on this podcast because the rest of them listen to a dub.
no, I can't leave my house or the beeper that's on my ankle will beep, and then the authorities have been called.
I should point out, as long as we're talking about the dub,
Sure.
that I'm still officially angry that Tristan McAvery is still not Gendo. He did Gendo in the original ADV dub, but by the time they did the director's cut, they'd replaced him.
Oh.
And like the guy, he's doing fine, whatever. But he's not Tristan McAvery, and he's not original Gendo.
Huh. So is this the one we had back when they did like End of Ava then?
I know John Swasey was the guy they replaced him with. I'm not sure if that's still him.
Yeah, I think
That's still him, I'm pretty sure.
I was like, I
Okay.
was looking up. I was like, oh wow, this guy has been with the series this long, but I guess he's not the original.
No. It seemed like I said, from back when they released the director's cut DVDs.
I like going through the Funimation, I guess, dubs of this,
Mm-hmm.
and then going into the Amazon one. And then they start calling Sele Zele, and we're like, excuse me? Are we really doing this at the very end?
It's funny
they
because
go
it
into
felt.
Zella.
Yeah, I was like Zella. Yeah, and it fucking it made me nostalgic because it reminded me of End of Ava's Evas.
Getting the Eva.
Get in the Eva Shinji.
You know who did voice direction for this dub?
I have no idea. All I know is Villa and Zeal, or whatever they said was
Zele.
Zele.
The S became a Z for the final movie.
It was a lot to deal with, but you know, that's fun. As I like to think of it, the new character they added to the movies is kind of like the ink theft detector at a Kmart.
Apparently, that's a very complicated analogy, as I heard.
Well, people, it's much like this movie, open to interpretation. You know, your opinion, you just walk out of the store with it, and it turns out that exploded on you. Yeah, I don't know. Just talking about the movie, because we've been talking about very weird, hyper-specific aspects of it, and that's fine. Like, we're not here to... Here's our literary and historical breakdown of the themes behind Ava 4. You know what? I'm just calling it 4
call
for the
4.
I have like 18 pages.
Okay, if you want to just start reading, I can go get a drink.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, damn it.
I'm in my 30s. I just can't anymore with this goddamn show.
I mean, I'm the only one not in my 30s, actually.
but the thing for me, the reason I'm losing it is because I've been friends with Aggro the whole arc.
Right.
What a ride it's been.
I was that guy. I was that guy for years.
Right.
I was the best at it.
Man, yeah, if YouTube was what it was back then, I'm sure you would have had a few videos.
Oh man, yeah, no. We would have been doing guest appearances on Aggro's reviews.
Yes.
Back there trying to suss out the origins of the Barons of Hell myth.
Yes.
I started liking Ava a lot more when I stopped trying to make 100% sense of all the biblical references. When I was just like, wait, no, this is just, he thinks this stuff is cool, and he's finding interesting ways to integrate it.
Yeah, he's literally said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when those interviews started coming over, we were like, oh.
It's so funny.
No.
It's like, if I knew this was going to get really popular in America, I might not have decided to make it about Christianity. we picked it because most people in Japan aren't Christian, so there's a mysterious aura to it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I like about people fiction handling mythologies and religions. I like that energy to it, 100%. It reminds me of Castlevania, where it's just like, Death and Dracula definitely work together. And then they Voltron.
After watching this, it was really funny. After seeing people argue about Evangelion for years. For decades.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm like, wow, this shit really isn't that complicated. I can think of few things that just look at the camera and say what they're about as bluntly as this does.
Yeah, but imagine
What is wrong with you?
Just imagine you got really distracted by the tree of Sephiroth and didn't pay attention to what it was yelling at you. What's the point? I have some notes on 4, though. I could read. They're very short notes.
Okay.
And this one specifically, I want to ask Aggro, because, Casey and Bob, they heard me say this while we were watching it. Aggro, did the opening of Ava 4, the opening credits, have it come across to you with an amazing early sci-fi we're walking in front of matte paintings energy? Because they're just walking across these landscapes of destruction. And I'm like, yeah, this feels like when you just have your characters walk in front of a painting of the underground of New York City. Or
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, post-nuclear elements. Like, part of it reminded me of Logan's Run. He finally escapes. We're not just going to show him walking for a really long time. And I'm like, yeah.
Do Beneath the Planet of the Apes, when they go down into the subway and one tunnel is just a matte painting of the tunnel and they walk toward the camera.
Yes, they walk towards the camera and it's like perspective. I thought that was a really cool trick. They should make a 4K Blu-ray of all the Planet of the Apes films, because I'm sure those matte paintings hold up great.
that entire opening credits made me go, man, this is gunning to be a real film.
Yeah, no, 4 is fucking stellar. It's
embarrassing how much of more of a movie it is than the other 3.
Yeah, I booted that thing up, and I'm like, okay, time to watch the last one. Why is it 2.5 hours long? It's an Ava movie.
Because it's
What
fucking
the
raw
fuck?
is why.
I like this movie a lot where we went, all right, let's just take a minute. You need to go to the bathroom or something, and we're dizzy, and we look, there's 50 minutes left.
Mhm.
Yeah, when rumors came out this was going to be 6 hours of good.
Yeah.
I wish it had been.
Yeah, watching this,
Yes,
I'm like,
give me
please.
3 hours in that village.
Yeah, I was
Give
going to
it to
say
me.
the 40 minutes spent in that village feels so good to see. And it was so nice watching it build out oh, this is what happened to everyone during the time jump. This is how these characters integrate into the village. This is Ray being taught what being human is. The new one, not the old one. The old one is apparently paint on the interior of an Ava cockpit.
They just keep layering people into the plug of Unit 1. It's all right.
I'm really glad that Toji and Kensuke finally got to matter.
Yeah, no, it does.
Oh, yeah.
It does feel good to have that actually happen after so long. And like Dan was saying, building out the world in this way feels great. I always love when we just have to sit down and solely go around a universe you're building out that's really interesting, like the
Right.
shielded city,
Right.
all the weirdness going on outside of the shield,
Right.
what it takes to maintain it. All that's really cool and kind of reminds me of Ghibli films when they just get into living.
Yes, and that's the thing. I was going to say the third film has a much more claustrophobic view of how everything's gone, and it almost seems maddening in that way.
Mm-hmm.
It almost leaves you with the impression that the entire world's dead, basically, except for this ship and that room. So when the fourth one expands everything, because one of the first things it does, as I was just talking about, is show Shinji and crew walking across the vast wastelands. Even that's just immediately more, this is a whole world, and then they get to the city, and then you get to learn all about how they're living now. And it's so great.
And that whole segment, it's the first time, in the Rebuild movie specifically, because, Ava always had that balance, the series did, between the giant robot fights and the weirdness and the day-to-day normalcy. And this is the first time the Rebuild movies slow down and get into that, really.
Yes. I do appreciate the second Rebuild film because I felt like that one did it a little bit, and that felt really great when it was like, I'm going to concern myself with being a slice of life for a little bit at the beginning here. And I'm like, okay, great. Let's go see the sea animals.
Okay, that was 2. Okay, I was going to say, was that 2 or 1? Because it's hard to remember when you watch all of them in a really short.
Yeah, that's
time.
fair. That's fair.
Oh, yeah.
Especially 1 and 2, which you watch right after watching the show, because it's ultimately just a compilation movie of most of the show.
Yeah, it helps that I saw, 13 years ago.
But by the way, fuck you. Why wasn't Leliel in 2? Leliel's raw. That's the ball that Shinji rips himself out of.
Yes.
Leliel, one of the best. We just did not have time for the Leliel arc.
I really need to watch the original series again. It's been so long. I was
it-
hoping to buy it on Blu-ray, but I guess I won't.
Yeah, I was like, maybe some sort of definitive Blu-ray collection would come out at any price that would be acceptable, unless it didn't have Fly Me to the Moon.
Maybe one of those things they haven't announced yet will be acceptable. Maybe it'll be like, here's a reasonably priced thing that has what you want on it.
Here's the thing. I was ready to die on a hill for hundreds of dollars for all of fucking Ava on a Blu-ray, right?
So was I. I was going to hit that button, and then Bob said it doesn't have the ending on it, and that stopped the purchase in its tracks.
And to see, that's the thing. It's sad because, one, that was a limited run release anyways, which sucks.
Yeah, I don't know why they feel like they need to gaslight us into buying that by not having the regular edition.
I mean, yeah, they're definitely trying to get a FOMO feeling going on there, and it's like, really? For Ava? You felt you needed to do that for Ava. But
They tried to do that for Dragon Ball a couple
Dragon
years
Ball
ago.
Z had that last year.
There's so much Dragon Ball, though. I could sort of understand feeling insecure about what sort of release are we talking for Dragon Ball? Was it
was
literally
a full set of Z. It was like, we didn't
Okay.
fuck this one up, we promise. Unlike the last 4.
For that one, just to make it very quick, we need 5,000 people to pre-order this thing, and we'll make it, and it's going to be the whole show. And they're like, we're going to do it great this time. and it still looks like shit.
Yeah, of course it does. I wouldn't trust anyone who's like, hey, we're only making 5,000 of these, so at most 5,000 of you will be pissed.
Because there was always the nightmare with the home video releases of those, where it's like, oh, they never did a good set, and they're like, it's 4x3, we're finally doing it, and it just looks like the orange bricks in 4x3.
Oh yeah. I've been friends with Xeon this whole time. She's given me the rundown every single time they fucked it up.
Yes. They only did it right once, and it was for a set that they canceled after like one release.
I'm a big fan of what they did with Broly, where it was just green for no reason.
I still like the conspiracy theory that is, what if they just changed it for Funimation so people get mad at them?
Yeah, I saw a lot of people going, what if Toei just sent them bad shit on purpose?
I'm like, not Toei. They have such good archival material. We can trust them.
Except we had the UK version with the exact same dub that wasn't green.
Yeah. Thus why the conspiracy theory that they did it to fuck with Funimation.
That'd be really funny if if they just fucking hate Funimation. Because if you don't know, and this is getting off topic from Ava, but whatever.
It doesn't matter.
Funimation only has Dragon Ball because the fucking CEO of Funimation who founded it was like the nephew of someone important at Toei.
I did not know that. What is it? Gen Fukunaga? Is that right?
Yeah, that's the CEO. And it's like,
Okay.
well, you get it. So it'd be really funny if by now they're like, I fucking hate Funimation. They got that stupid fucking thing that we still have to honor because of nepotism. Send them fucked up shit forever.
That would be funny as shit.
It sounds very real.
If nothing else, they'd hate him for playing nice with Team 4-Star.
Yeah, Japanese companies don't really like people doing anything but giving them money and then silently watching something alone in a box.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. You've been sharing our series with your friends, having them come over and watch. How many? How many of your friends?
We're going to activate your Samsung TV DRM.
No! I already paid you $30, Disney. I know there might be 5 people here, but come on!
Oh my God. And this really is all I'm going to say about this. I almost forgave Samsung for the power supply issue on my 2010 TV that they lost a class action lawsuit about. And then this happened. I was like, I might see myself buying a Samsung TV. They're turning out OLEDs next year, apparently. I might turn. And then they did the DRM announcement. And I'm like, okay, nope, never again. Nope. Mm-hmm. Not signing up for that future. Fuck that. Anyways, moving back to Ava 4. Just wanted to talk about, because this is one of the small notes I took here. Yes, Ava 3.0 plus 1.01. That is correct. Concerted drone movements are really cool.
Yeah, they were like, oh God, we've found CG, and we are going to use geometric CG until we die.
Yes, it was like, man, I'm really glad they found the coolest shit in the world to do with the CG in this movie. And then you get to the particle effect that is just human bodies. And it's everywhere.
Yeah, it turns into Drakengard.
You kids like sacred geometry?
I think a lot of CG in this looks great. There are a few scenes like that where there are like hundreds of CG models and it starts running really bad. I'm like, okay, you better re-render this for Blu-ray and run it right. Like, I assume you just couldn't get it to render right the first time.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes, where the re-releases, they add more decimal points, and then I've looked it up and they've completely changed shot compositions.
Yes.
And other stuff.
There's one really weird scene where it's Mari and Asuka going through like a tunnel in their white plug suits, and they're both CG for some reason.
Yes,
that is true.
That happens.
That was just really bizarre.
It's really weird that it's really weird that Anno ended the movie with a shot of him and his favorite Taco Bell just eating a crunch wrap.
Spoilers.
Imagine listening to this.
Okay, I haven't, like, I watched the movie last night. I have seen nothing on the internet about it yet. I know that back in the day, at least around where I am, the enormous ray from the end of Evangelion, It was colloquially known as Uber Ray.
Okay.
Oh.
Do we have or need a separate name for giant real face Ray? Because that's a whole separate nightmare.
Because they gave it a name, like Evangelion Imaginary. Isn't that what they just called it for this?
Oh, it was either that or like Black Lilith is another thing I think they called it.
Yeah, because at least in the dub, he's like, "This is Ava Imaginary," and
Imaginary,
then it just
yeah.
fucking morphed.
Yeah,
into
they
that.
call it an imaginary Evangelion.
That was during the pile-on where Anna was like, okay, you guys want to talk shit about symbolism? Let's talk shit about symbolism. Here's 20 uninterrupted minutes of me saying nonsense and throwing more and more crazy shit at the screen.
Here, look at how many CG mannequins I can put on this screen with this music.
I like how they're just adding shit that wasn't in anything before, where fucking Gendo gets brain. It's like he used the key of Nebuchadnezzar, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter that his brains are all over the floor.
It's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
no.
was
That
Incredible.
was the coolest shit where I'm like, imagine waiting 9 years to be like, why the fuck does he wear the stupid visor now?
Right? Like, what are you, Chairman Keel? Is that important? Is that symbolism? Nah.
Nah. No, he's just
It's great that they did just throw in all that extra random new shit and also hit, like, every story beat from 25 and 26 and End of Evangelion.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yes, this movie is perfect.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
The only thing that could improve it would be 3 more hours of the village.
I mean, I don't like you could add this and add that, but okay, so the village sequence. Shinji wakes up and he sees like adult Toji Suzahara with the stethoscope on. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then my brain seized up and I said, movie. And I want you guys to remember that I first saw Ava when I was 14 and watched it like 6 times a year since then. Movie, you give me MILF Hikari Haraki or I will fucking riot.
You're like, I don't ask for much.
I just need this one thing.
And I got it.
Yeah, you sure did.
This is how you win.
Oh, 9 years worth it.
We even finally got Toji's sister in 3 and 4.
Yeah.
That's fucking stunning to me.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I was like, fine. Wait, she's real? She's not fake?
It's not Columbo's wife?
No, it's not Columbo's wife.
I think probably the funniest thing in this movie, in the series of all the shit that all the symbolism that doesn't matter anymore, is when they're like, oh yeah, Marie is Maria Iscariot. I don't have no fucking idea. Iscariot. It's like, what? What the fuck do you mean? What are you talking? Shut the fuck
That
up.
was the funniest shit. I
Does not
bust a
elaborate. Leaves.
I
Is
Does
it
not
her
elaborate,
name?
dies.
Is it a nickname?
I-
Is she the one in that memory Gendo has?
I
Oh
had
god.
more-
Or in the
a gut
photo that
so
she's
hard.
just in of them.
Yeah, no, I kept looking through that and was like, I guess that's just it. I don't know
yeah.
how she got the curse of
Once
the Ava
again-
back then. Or
Once again, all of this is the ink theft test, where it's just like, we're going to attach one more hook onto this character to upset people with problems.
People with bad taste.
I thought it was funny because, once again, I didn't see 2 or 3
right.
or 4 until all at the same time on one night. And I'm like, oh, I now have context for this character they added. She seems fine. I don't know why you would even focus on her when talking about these films. I don't know.
It's new and they were upset.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, apparently a lot of stuff came about production of like, oh yeah, they asked Ano to add her because they wanted another like female protagonist to be able to sell the stuff with.
I mean, you look at that
then
second film and she's barely fucking in it.
I know, that's so weird.
She's barely in any of these.
Yeah, I really wish that we had more.
Like,
to
and that's
go
the
on with
point
her.
in the end. I want to say this part because this is jumping to the end a little bit.
Yeah.
The point is that the only person Shinji can be with is someone not from Ava.
Yeah.
That's the point. That is why she exists. Also, she's Anno's wife. Like, she is very transparently his wife.
I mean, his wife has rejected that one, but I mean, it's Ava, so it's this or that.
Anno has said that one of his favorite things about his wife is her huge rack. I also laughed really hard both times Marie mentioned her rack, because I'm like, yeah, it's fucking enormous in every shot. Every shot she's in.
I need like a decades long meta data analysis study on a character that has this little screen time versus how much porn there is of her.
I just sit there and think, yeah, the key to Shinji's happiness is a chick to walk up to him and say, "You smell good," and there's no insult right after that.
Yeah, I think the only part about her that makes it weird is, wait, was she like the Asuka to the Yui Gendo relationship? Because that's what it felt like in all those flashback scenes where she's there, where she's the one like yelling at him and pointing and stuff.
The answer is none of that shit matters.
Yeah, it's like who cares? Shinji found someone, not brain damage, so it all worked out.
Yep, everything's fine. And that's what I like about this. Someone who deeply, deeply loves End of Ava, right? I also drastically, strongly, with the core of my soul, appreciate that here's the counterpart. Here's the happy ending. It's like, this is great. I don't need endings to be sad and miserable and kind of horrific, but I appreciate that we got 2 endings, 3 endings really to Ava, and all 3 are really great in their own ways.
Yeah, this one does feel
I don't
like...
even think Into Ava is a bad ending.
You think
I think
so?
it's actually insanely hopeful.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because the whole point of Into Ava, in my eyes anyway, is that the end when Shinji is fucking choking Asuka, he wants her to reject him, but she doesn't. And that's the hopeful part, is that maybe even Asuka, such a fucking bitch, can make steps forward. You can too, depressed person.
Okay, that's
how I read it anyway.
That's a really positive thing to take out of that. I also appreciate that this has its own nice musical song with lyrics at the end to kick in, and a couple of melodic homages to Kamsu Sirtad in said song. I really did. I love this ending. I love it a lot. I'm shocked that they landed it, especially after I went through 2 and 3. I'm like, wrapping this up is going to be a little difficult.
Yeah, when you do almost nothing with a whole movie, it's really hard to think about how you're going to finish things.
I really, because I thought we were in full on End of Ava mode, where we're all doing it outside with all the weird lights and the monsters and the Ava's morphing, and then I'm like, we got like 40 minutes left in this movie, and we dive right into episode 25 and 26 inside your head bullshit. 2 of the greatest
episodes in history.
Right? I'm like, oh God, we're going back.
God, there is no part. Everything with Gendo in this movie is so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so fucking good. With him realizing that he's terrified of his own son.
This was just like an own to Gendo. Basically, it's like the first half of the movie is Gendo's planned absolutely everything out. Yes. Even when things seem like they're going completely against anyone's possible plan, he's like, no, this is part of the plan.
Yep.
And then it breaks down to no, he's a coward.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, the treatment of Gendo in this, where it's just like, dude, some terrorists blew up a building behind you and it's collapsing. It's going to crush you. And he's like, oh, no, I planned for this, definitely. It's like, come on, dude, what? You can't just...
It was fascinating how it became apparent. Like in the original end of the series, Shinji starts... it starts being very mouthpiecey for Anno. But... by the end of this 4th movie, it was very clear that this many years later, Anno is speaking out of Gendo at this point.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
100%.
He even starts to morph to look more like Anno at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I mean, except for the whole eye crater thing.
You think.
Yeah,
between that and the you know, just because we're talking about serious shit and we're handling topics and character arcs and everything, and we're landing this insanely huge airplane, this royal cruiser of an airplane that is the end of Ava, that doesn't mean we can't have time for an insane set piece where we're fighting through kaiju sets.
That moment was great. Man, that building CG looks a little rough, doesn't? Oh my god, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Them fighting on a Toku set is so fucking good because it's another thing where it's just Anno, where it's just like, yeah, he's Anno. Remember when Anno made an Ultraman fan film of himself whipping ass in an Ultraman jumpsuit? Okay.
You're gonna enjoy Shin Godzilla, by the way.
I have to drop this bomb here.
Uh-huh.
So in this movie, they establish that Shinji's Walkman was Gendo's. Shinji was born in 2001. Meaning Gendo was probably a moody teen, or maybe a little bit older in the 90s. The start of the 90s. There is a very high possibility on that Walkman is Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Thank you.
We need to know that.
During that final battle thing that Shinji has against Gendo, has one of my favorite shots of like sequences of animation when they're like, we're gonna simulate that they fought for a while by just doing an insane kaleidoscope of it just morphing between both Avas, morphing between them, and it just keeps going. And I'm like, how did you do this? Did this take 8 months? This 20 seconds? Because it just keeps going, and it's just insane.
Yeah, that part is really incredible looking.
It's such a brief moment, but I really liked the start where Shinji just grabs Gendo by the throat.
It's like, I'm gonna go. I'm going to go and fight my father. I'm clapping in my chair, like, thank you. What should have happened? Episode 1, Shinji fist fighting Gendo.
Yes.
Yeah, my brain couldn't cope or kind of fully react to the fact that I was like, oh my god, they're gonna fucking fight.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that we get to see like episode 25 and 26 with budget. Because part of that is just the style of it was constrained by having no money.
What are you talking about? Yeah. That's how you end a series. I watched Karika.
Right, that classic Anno vibe.
Here's another great part of this movie. When it's falling apart again at the very end in the same way, Ava is falling apart.
Ava.
What saves it is Marie showing up.
I mean, I took that as Shinji's still stuck in Evangelion where he's doomed, but she shows up to pull him out and into the world that he created after that.
It's another thing which is why I think she's Anno's wife. Exactly what you said, where she saves him.
She pulls him in, into reality so that they can then leave real life Japan.
Yeah. And go get their crunch wrap. Yeah.
Right, obviously.
At the station that is Anno's hometown. Just in real life.
Yeah, this movie visually is such a fucking masterpiece, and it's such an enjoyable film to watch. Don't take this wrong, hardcore fans. I really wish this was a film you could recommend to people without going, you need to watch the other 3. Like, it's so good as an experience, and it's a shame.
It's got a recap at the beginning.
Yeah, it's a pretty good recap, all things considered. It's like getting the fucking robot.
Get in the robot, Shinji. Shinji, stop getting in the robot.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the best. Well, that was one of the best parts of this movie. You told him he can't go in the robot.
Well, Shinji, you promised you wouldn't go in the robot.
And he's like, I'm sorry, but I'm getting in this fucking robot. It's like, no.
This is bullshit.
I'm a character who will now have resistance and a character, unlike the last film.
I didn't bring it up once because it was a 3 thing. But Jerry Jewell being fucking Kaoru and just being like, come on, Shinji, let's do it. They get down there and he's like, oh, wait, this is bad. None of this is adding up. Shinji's like, no, we're doing it. My pants are off. Let's go.
I was losing my mind. He's like, you told me we should do this, so I'm going to go ahead and never listen to you ever again and do it.
Every time Shinji gets confident, something fucks up dramatically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fucking relatable.
I also hate that your Jerry Jewell is close enough that it hurts my head.
Look, man, Jerry Jewell is like the most handsome boy on campus.
Yes.
That's the role they cast him for every fucking time, except for what Bakano. He's a little bit less handsome that time.
When Gendo and Fuyutsuki drag the Black Womb to the South Pole, and the three other ships nobody had ever talked about show up, and their wings pop off, and they start this right, no one's heard of. I'm like riding with it the whole time, like, okay, pay attention, follow along, and then like see what the symbolism is supposed to. The moment somebody says he's gone into the negative universe, I'm like, oh, he's not even pretending anymore. We're just, and then like, Mari takes Shinji into the negative universe and like, oh no, Gendo's quantum teleporting. It's like, oh, okay, we're just going now, huh? Gendo starts talking about like, this is the spear of hope and this is the spear of despair, and they mirror each other. I'm like, bro, you are high doing black magic in your basement.
It reminded me of that moment where in Gurren Lagann, where they're like, they just launched the anti-probability missiles. And I'm like, oh, here we go.
But yeah, just that scene where Mari drives him in there, and then Shinji's just like, okay, I'm leaving now, and he's able to just walk out into the Ava.
Yeah.
Like, okay. It's real good.
So you expect someone to Kramer into the cockpit of an Ava at some point.
And then they do the thing where you've been waiting since movie 3 where you're like, oh, it's 0% compatibility. Oh, wait, no, it's actually infinite.
It rolled over. That was raw as shit.
That was unbelievably funny.
Yeah, I know I'm going to watch this movie like 6 more times and then eventually get into a mode where I can do like full apologetics for this entire thing. Like, no, actually, that makes sense because...
All of it makes enough sense in my head to be like, this is really cool and amazing. I don't care if anything is wrong.
Yeah, that's also my take. Me no care. 10.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the 0% probability, infinite percent probability thing fucked me up really hard. Just because it reminded me of as you can see on this graph, this audio interference is happening across this entire band. That is because the spectrograph doesn't have infinite resolution. If it did, it would show it's an infinitely high spike in this one place. And I'm like, what? So then when I watched the movie, I'm like, what? It felt very similarly bullshit and amazing and close enough to science.
Right? That's the thing with Ava. It's close enough to science.
Yeah, this sounds pretty science, my man.
That's all I need from Technobabble. Like, something came up. Just say something, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, I like that Anno's kind of a master of that. I feel like there's various moments in this, Gunbuster, in Nadia, that are all like, yeah, I buy that, sure.
Oh, man, you should probably fix that part of the engine.
Like, how does the Ava do this? Oh, well, it works on fucking turn-of-the-century psychology. Oh, well, how does that work? Oh, we don't really know. Okay, if you stack both those things together, everything's explained.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Get in the goop.
Yeah, you sit there and it's like, oh, that sounds like a bad resonance. Do you need to fix that? That sounded like some spooky terminology. They got to fix this. This is intense.
And that reminds me of the beginning of this movie where they're in Paris and they have the like 6 programmers trying to hack.
Yes.
Whatever this
abandoned nerve headquarters.
Yeah, this nerve headquarters that has some sort of field protector that can nullify the curse. Or whatever's happening.
The corification?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was a really strong opener.
When that happened, I'm like, what is this you beat the area in Okami shit?
Yeah,
I was like, what the fuck is going... Okay, I guess it's like a generator that pushes... Okay, sure. Show me things.
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, you're going to make this shit not doomed then?
Why are there headless Avas walking around? Why are they all naked ladies now?
That opening part when they're like, here are the something Evangelions that Fuyutsuki commands, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? How long has it been since the last film?
I'm like, oh god, are they gonna find a way to eat something?
Oh my god, when Mari has to fight off all those things that are just like a core with 2 arms, both holding knives.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
those
shit.
things from Metal Gear Solid 4. Yeah.
Yeah, those gecko
Yeah, I'm like,
things.
I need those in a Castlevania game right now.
They're just fleemen.
That would be really good. Oh man. Yeah, no, this was an excellent film. Not sure if that's come across in our review so far.
It is both just a pile of beautifully crafted empty spectacle because it's the 4th Ava movie after 20 years and that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
But that is laid atop this skeleton of like, oh my god, this is actually incredibly thoughtfully written.
Yes.
Look at all these beats, look at the mirroring. Oh, this is how the scenes are like poetry. One scene rhymes with another. Is that what that feels like? Holy shit.
It was really stunning to me because I watched the show and then almost immediately went into this is like, how do you do this? How do you write something that feels like it was made right after almost?
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
I feel like that 9-year break was necessary. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like if we didn't have that, this movie wouldn't have been this good.
Yeah,
like
I think that's absolutely the case.
he probably just had to think about this an insane amount because it feels like a weird apology to the fans from back then. Because obviously the end of Ava was made kind of with malice.
Yeah.
It was.
That movie
my
was angry.
my understanding is that End of Ava was mostly made right when Anno started taking antidepressants.
Also, he started getting death threats.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's the case anymore. But my understanding is that back then, at least, when you started taking antidepressants, there's like a month period where you feel like you're going to die, where something about how it works is it has to kick in, and before it does, you're like at the absolute bottom.
Yeah. I think
It like turns off all your coping mechanisms for depression before it starts to treat your depression, basically, is my understanding.
wait, people have coping mechanisms for depression? What the fuck?
Yeah, it's called watching Ava twice in one day.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I feel like this 4th film is deeply contemplative on what it means to be an Ava film and land this fucking ship in a way that I too believe the 9 years was necessary. And yeah, the spectacle, there are so many unique, beautiful, and interesting visuals. Like, you get everything. You get landscapes, you get amazing science devices, purification stuff, you get horrible monster shit. It's so beautiful in so many different ways, and it is laid atop this story that does so well to land this fucking ship, have themes, and also come up with science reasons to do cool shit. It's such a fucking good film.
Something that I thought was really interesting watching the rebuilds right after the show is it almost feels like Anno like talking to himself. Because in the rebuilds, the characters are a lot more like human beings than in the show. They're not human beings is the right word, but they're more redeemable in the rebuild. Like there's more humanity to them. Wherein everybody in the show is kind of a fucking piece of shit. And that feels like Anno almost like addressing himself. And something that I read a bunch of interviews and something that I landed on was Anno being like, wait, other people feel these things? I thought it was just depressed otaku.
Ew, yeah.
Which I feel like also informed these rebuilds where it's like, well, if everybody can relate to this, maybe I shouldn't be so hard on them people and myself. Because I definitely feels like an element of him telling his past self that everything will be fine in these movies. Compared to how he viewed the world when he made the originals.
Yeah, there is a lot of where it sneaks into the last part of the movie, less about like, oh, Shinji, you learned to love yourself, and like, wow, Shinji, you just grew the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I once he has that transition after Ray talks to him and then turns to LCL, he becomes more aware than ever before. Like it feels almost like does this Shinji just know everything? Like, is this the Shinji who has experienced the other 2 runs of Ava? Like, that's what I started feeling like, where he got that level of, no, I get it. I know what I need to do. in a way that we've never seen him do.
Yeah, he has from that moment forth an amazing sense of purpose to him that you don't see him have necessarily at other parts, and an ability to manage that responsibility.
Right.
And which is great because then it transitions the movie into being, Gendo's a fuck up.
Yes. And there's a point after that where it's very clear that he knows everything. But that I'm like, does he actually know from all the way back at this point? Because it seems like he does. It seems like he's manned up in a way that makes almost no sense.
That maybe that feels like very explicitly like a metaphor for depression again, because a thing that's constantly, every time Shinji almost has an epiphany in all of Eva, somebody right next to him is like, yeah, you're gonna fuck up again, but that's okay, just try again after you fuck up again. It's gonna happen, like it's never gonna stop, but you'll go a little bit further each time. In fact, I think Masato outright says that to him in End of Eva before she sticks her tongue in his mouth.
Great scene.
It's fine. The only way she can communicate with people is through physical intimacy, so that just means she's being really genuine.
That just means she's being. You're talking about her like she's a dog. It's okay, Shinji. That's how we know she likes you.
I'm so glad you finally watched these.
I mean that's what it is.
I know, but it's so funny to just say it like that.
Right.
Oh man, fuck.
But yeah, a recurring theme of Evangelion is that it's okay if you're going to fuck up and fall apart again. But all that matters is that you keep trying, and it's the theme of Eva. All of it is literally, we're all gonna make it, brah. So, and the implicit time loops is part of that, is like a metaphor for that.
Mm-hmm.
Each time Shinji comes a little closer to not fucking up until finally he didn't.
Is this the hardest any title drop has ever hit? I feel like it is.
Oh my god! Because like they say Neon Genesis like 3 times, and I'm like, say it, just say Evangelion, you son of a bitch.
and then you have that moment where he just goes, "Goodbye, all Evangelions," as they're all just going away.
Yeah,
and then I looked that up later, and it's like, that was ad-libbed.
So that scene where it's literally just basically Anno in the studio sending everyone home.
Yes.
It's very strong.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, show frames from the original show in the background.
God, what a smart movie.
It's just one of those things, like, so much in the back half of this film. If you had done any of these scenes or techniques in another movie, you would be a pretentious asshole.
Right? Like if
but this movie
Oshi had
climbs
made
the
this,
mountain. Yeah.
It'd be the most disgusting movie ever.
But Ava has climbed this fucking mountain so long and so hard that when you get 50 minutes into the 4th Ava rebuild, it's like, all right, do it. Just do it directly to my brain, please.
It's a really strong testament to a movie when I'm like, why are you showing me robots fighting? I don't want that. I want talking. Well, go back to the talking.
See, unlike Other, and that's all I have to say because everyone's damaged.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was literally that point where Gendo was like, Shinji, stop the robot fight. We're not doing the robot fight anymore.
This doesn't mean anything, Shinji. Why are we doing this?
This cannot be solved through might.
We're standing on a magic octuple cross in the negative universe.
There are people who waited 26 years for these two motherfuckers to just talk.
Yeah, no, this is the first time we get to really get a deep dive on Gendo. It's kind of crazy.
The wife guy of darkness.
God, like the whole series is people taking turns going, hey, Shinji, what's up with you and your dad? And he's like, I don't know, my dad sucks. Have you ever tried talking it out with him? Yeah, no, but like, did you really? No.
This isn't something from this movie. It's from the show. But something I always really liked about the show is every time Shinji screams at somebody that they betrayed him, what he always means is that they betrayed what he made up in his head as them.
Mm-hmm.
And you betrayed my expectations of you is something Gendo says to him like 5 times. God, what a great thing.
Yeah, just the very end where it's like Shinji's like, I guess I'm fucked. It's like, no, my mom will save me, I guess. Oh, and my dad too.
Yeah.
I'm really glad they made a new Uber Ray.
No, this is Uber
Oh
Super
my God.
Maximum, right? Very different.
Right before she showed, like, the head comes up out of the hole with the mask on, and I'm like, okay. Because I've been adrift in all this wacky new Ava symbolism, and it's been making me feel kind of vulnerable. Thank God I have this, albeit creepy, familiar iconography
Finally,
to latch
some
my
comfort.
comfort onto. And then the mask falls off,
Yep.
Yeah,
and I kind of shit myself a little.
I honestly, for a moment, was like, is that live action?
Yeah, it
Right?
looks like live action. It
Right?
really
Yeah.
does. It looks like insanely well done close-ups, edited and put in here. If it's CG, like, completely, they did a great job. But what I assume it is a live action face with CG hair.
Yeah, the hair is obviously CG, but I was like, maybe the face also is CG.
That
but
is
I'm not
the most unbelievably good depiction of CG skin.
Well, we need the Blu-ray. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to have to do that deep dive. Hopefully it comes out on 4K HDR.
I'd buy the
Blu-ray.
whole collection because that's 2 9s, a 7, and a 10.
You know,
Checks out.
I can't question these numbers. These seem to line up. I'm
Yeah.
checking my notes. One moment.
Yeah, this is fairly close to what I had, yeah.
I was going to say random imagery rundown. Shout out to when they're in orbit on the Villa. I'm sorry, the Wunder. And they shoot out all the arc seeds and they look like dandelion seeds.
Yes.
But then later when the ship gets fucked up and they're evacuating the personnel and like they at first look like insert plugs, but then they look like viruses coming off of the ship and scattering. I was like, I feel very biologically called out by this.
Yeah, no, I thought that was really neat. There's so many neat things in it, visually speaking, that it's virtually impossible to talk about them in any comprehensive way. You just end up with one of those, this is a 2-hour YouTube video about this 2-hour movie.
Yes, because every
Welcome to
single
Ava.
thing has an explanation you can go into.
One of my favorite parts of this, like visual, like it goes beyond visuals. It's just the moment. Is this moment here where you get Gendo just being like, I'm super fucking cool. Please stop walking towards me, son. And puts up his empty field. Because they literally frame Shinji walking towards him as an almost you're approaching me moment. Because of the perspective, positioning, and everything. And that's before the AT field comes up. So it's like, no, Dad, I'm going to talk to you. And he's like, no, please.
That's the absolute last thing I want to do.
Jesus Christ.
I clearly would rather disintegrate all of humanity than do this. I've done it several times.
This fucking sucks. Come on. I've been dodging this shit for years. It's really great. Like, this film is so fucking good. I'm really glad that out of all of these rebuild films, we finally get this moment where it's just like the other rebuild films are good. I'm not saying they're not good. I'm saying this one is like, this should be on a top 10 anime movie list forever, probably. It executes so fucking well. It's firing on every fucking piston. There are cool visuals. The plot of it is incredible. I did not expect this when I came into the rebuild films, especially by the time I finished 3. I'm like, and you know, like I wasn't coming in pessimistic or anything, but I was just like, time to close up this loop on the rebuild films. I'm very excited to have closure. And in the moment this movie starts, 10 minutes in, you're just like, yo, nobody told me this 4th one would be the most fucking amazing shit. I was just looking forward to closure.
Right? Like when I saw 2, I thought, okay, the rebuild movies are going to end up being pretty damn good and at best hotly controversial.
Yes.
Like there was no way you could stick a landing like this. Like they were either going to just wuss out, or it was just going to get super weird, and like you're sitting there drinking like 30-year-old scotch, like, oh yes, only true connoisseurs can enjoy how much this hurts.
Yes.
Ava double oaked. Jesus. But yeah, I think we should do some comments if anyone has any stray comments to get out before we wrap up this episode of WeeaBoots, possibly the longest one that wasn't reviewing 3 separate animes.
I had a question.
Sure, yeah.
For if anybody has a firm answer for this one, how in the Rebuild movies, for how long was Asuka a clone? Was it the whole time, or was it
It was the
like
whole time.
Okay, yeah.
The implication is that there were Asuka clones like Rey clones,
Right.
and
yeah,
this
that's,
is
that's
and
why
we
they changed
we
her
just
last
followed
name.
one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, that was a really weird thing.
I just didn't know if they started that program after she like got into Bardiel and got fucked up.
Yeah.
Because it's implied that she's always been a clone. Because I forget who it is that says it to her. No, wait, she says it to Rey, but the way she says it implies that she even knows it.
Hmm.
But I can't even begin to prescribe some sort of meaning to that.
I guess I'll
Yeah,
just
'cause
have to watch the whole original series, End of Ava, and then all of these again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't remember any of the Asuka clone stuff from the series. Was that in
There's none.
Oh,
No,
No,
yeah.
absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely
There was
not. She's
definitely
like
just from
very
the rebuilds.
explicitly.
And I only cottoned onto it in the 4th one when it became obvious.
When it
Because
became
I was always like, why did they
absolutely
change her name?
unavoidable. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was looking up the credits for this, I was like, wait, Shikinami, what? I thought it was Soryu. What
'cause
happened?
It was the Ayanami series and the Shikinami series.
Yep. Any other comments before we close this out? Okay. Well, I think it's time to wrap. Oh, go ahead.
Maya Ibuki has been my favorite character in the show forever, and she was completely badass in the whole reboot series, and I am doing nothing but winning in this movie.
Yeah, it is interesting that they let her take a very large role, like way more than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see them adapt this shit in Super Robot Wars.
I want to see any action sequence in this done in the Super Robot Wars engine.
I want to see Gendo piloting the imaginary Evangelion in Super Robot Wars. Yeah,
I'm just imagining like Amuro and Sharp being like, "What the fuck is this?"
And then it's just visor face Gendo.
yes.
I want to see that with just fucking talk bubbles.
Jesus. People are like, yo, so the 4th Rebuild film apparently has some shit. Once they see that. But okay, we got to wrap this up. Here on WeeaBoots, we say whether we don't do a number scale. We say whether or not we would recommend people watching this, which is always very funny. Bob, would you recommend people watch the 4th Rebuild film?
Yes, you should watch all of it though. You should watch all of Ava.
Oh, okay.
Just do the thing Phil did. Sit down and start
Yes,
with
I
episode
highly
1.
recommend doing it.
Okay, well that gets 2 people out of the way. Hey KZ, would you recommend people watch this?
Yeah, just you probably have Amazon Prime. Just slide it all into your mouth like we did it starting at 11
It
p.m. on
came
a Thursday.
with your Amazon Prime, you stupid bitch.
You stupid fucking bitch. The ink is all over you.
We know you have one.
Dr. Aggro, would you recommend Ava fucking you up?
I mean, that's what it did. Like, people used to ask me, like, hey, is Evangelion, like, actually a good show? I'm like, I don't know. Is the sound of air in ambient air circulation in your ears good? I don't know what life is like without it constantly as background radiation. So, yes, I would recommend you watch all of Ava. I would recommend you watch this movie, but you can't get there from here. You have to go the long way around.
Yeah, it's true.
The really long way.
But it's worth it.
Don't let anybody lie to you.
Oh yeah, no. Don't cheat yourself by just watching the end, okay? You need to build up to that.
I thought that preview at the beginning was enough, though, right, Acro? You really were whether or not to get in robots.
The thing about asking me about Ava is, like, every third thing I say about it is a lie.
So,
God, I think they're right. I think you've been doing this the whole time.
The whole time. The whole fucking time. Nearly 20 years. This motherfucker has been doing this the whole time.
He's consistent.
Yeah, that's consistency. Aggro, would you recommend that people only watch the intro synopsis in this fourth movie?
And just like not the rest of the movie?
Yeah, not the rest of the movie, just that.
I mean, yeah, that sounds like a fun time to me.
Cool, great.
Oh my God. I want to talk about one more thing.
Sure, just one more thing?
Just one more thing. The previews for each of these movies at the end of the movies before them.
What, Nomad Gendo?
They are all immaculate.
Yes.
And I wish that 3 was more like what they did in the end of 2.
Oh, yeah, for one, of course. But more importantly, once I got to 2 and it really didn't have all that much Kaoru, I was like, oh, these are bullshit. This is great.
The one at the end of 3 is the best one.
It's
With
so
the
funny
half and half, Ava.
I thought they would find some way to do that by the end of this movie, but they just did not.
Yeah.
It's extremely based to just lie.
Oh, incredibly.
I'm sure that
That's what I'm saying.
Kojima learned that.
It's 9 years.
I look, those ending things were just fucking storyboard loose concepts. Like, and then we'll do these things. And then several steps later, you go, wait a minute. How does that connect to anything?
Right, and then it's like an excuse to have Misato do the ending outro bit while the music plays. That's all it's really there for.
Yeah, exactly. I love that a lot. I really do. I love I can't fathom tolerating the person who's like, they didn't do what was in that. It's too good to just fucking lie.
Yes.
Well, that's gonna do it for this episode of WeeaBoots. We're bye. WeeaBoots just transitions into music anyways. I don't say anything.
Oh, okay.
You don't promise there will be lots more fan service?
In the next episode of WeeaBoots, Bob takes off his shirt. The theme song for WeeaBoots is Android by Lukhash. You can find a link to go buy it on iTunes or Bandcamp in the description below. If you'd like to support podcasts like these, then consider becoming a podlord over on patreon.com/gbpodcasts.